All right, we're in session. The jurors are absent. The defendant is present. Sir.
Your Honor, I believe that both parties at this point have signed off on some stipulations about version patent.
Sure. All right, I'm looking at a document that is entitled Stipulation. It reads, the parties agree that the following items of evidence produced in discovery may be admitted into evidence by either party during its case in chief without objection as to their authenticity. Both sides reserve the right to object to each of the items' admission on the grounds of relevancy and any other ground that do not relate to authenticity. And there are, look like 49 items that are listed. Mr. Gaskins and Ms. Godwin, Mr. Tarleton, do y'all agree to the stipulation? I see your signatures are on it. Okay. And if you explain to your client what this means. Okay. Ms. Hayes, you also signed the stipulation. Do you understand that that the parties have agreed that these listed items can be received into evidence without either side having to prove their authenticity? That is to say, you can offer into evidence a videotape transcript without calling the person that has custody of video, or the videographer, or any of that. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Of course, you having pled not guilty, you have the right to challenge each and every aspect of all of the evidence and all of the state's evidence, and therefore you don't have to stipulate to anything. You understand that? Are you satisfied that this is your lawyer's decision to stipulate to these items is in your best interest?
Yes.
Okay, very well, thank you. Very well, the court finds that the defendant's made a knowing, intelligent decision with regard to this stipulation. She understands what her rights are to challenge the authenticity of this evidence as she sees fit, and she elects not to do that. The court finds that that decision, in light of all the circumstances of the case, appears to be appropriate and in her best interest, and I will allow and accept the stipulation. Anything else?
Your Honor, just in terms of scheduling our witnesses for this afternoon, I was just going to ask if the court had any idea about...
Well, I mean, you know, the breaking news is the sun's coming out. News from the TV stations and other information is that it's the weather has already begun in Wilmington, and therefore there seems to be some impression that the front is slowed down and we may get through the day. And so I would hope that you'll have adequate witnesses to call up until 5 o'clock in the event we can stay here till 5 o'clock. Okay. I mean, my goal is to finish the evidence today, hopefully get as much in as we can today, and accept the fact that we'll probably lose tomorrow. And maybe we can get back on track on Thursday at some point safely. So if we can, that's my goal, and I think that's most of the other judges here are sort of operating under that hope anyway, and so that's kind of where we are in scheduling. But if it gets bad quicker, we'll turn folks loose, and if we can't start, you know, we'll just deal with it on a day-to-day basis. But right now, that looks like probably that's kind of where we're going to be. All right, bring the jury in. Sheriff, thank you. are again present. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason for the delay in bringing you back in, I would notify you that the parties have agreed and stipulated to what we call the authenticity of certain items of evidence, and I had to go through that with them briefly. There's some 49 items of evidence, including receipts and videotape of certain activities that were obtained from various businesses and things of that nature. And they've all agreed to help expedite the trial, that neither side has to jump through all the hoops that the laws of evidence generally require that you do in order to get a videotape into evidence. You have to bring the custodian of the videotape and all that sort of stuff before you can play it to a jury. They've stipulated to a lot of this that it's authentic, and therefore either side does not have to satisfy all those legal requirements, since these are matters that are not in dispute, significantly in dispute, and I commend them for doing that, so that we can get through items of evidence that neither side challenges, and at least the authenticity of it anyway. And they've done that, and that's what we were doing just for the last few minutes. Well, according to the weather predictors, it should be snowing right now. And if you can tell, the sun seems to be trying to come out. But we do know that it's probably just delayed for a couple of hours. Our goal today is to see if we can make it through 5 o'clock to get as much called the Officer Suggs back, if you would, sir. We'll proceed on with that testimony. I believe y'all have finished direct? Yeah. Okay. Mr. Gaskins, do you have questions?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I've lost track of whether it's morning or afternoon. It's afternoon. Good afternoon. Back up on the screen. That's the overview of the,
Can you do that? Okay.
the Google map. Officer Suggs, the report focus indicated that the owner was law. Is that correct?
Camden Crest Apartments.
I'm sorry. Camden Crest Department. Did your information also reveal to you that she had lived at those apartments with Gwen Hayes?
The information I was given by Sergeant Penny from the Intelligence Center is that was a former address of the person who was listed as missing, Miss Ackerson.
And at that time, you didn't, I suppose, have reason to determine whether Gwen Hayes had also lived at the same apartment with her.
No, did not. Well, I was not given that information.
So the question at that point, I guess, just like
I can hear you.
I'm sorry. If that question had not yet arisen, had it?
If it had, it wasn't presented to me, no.
And by notifying your officers, someone was able to actually locate that vehicle parked in a parking space at the Camden Crest apartment.
That is correct, yes.
Now, you were later, as this investigation progressed, were able to determine that Grant Hayes had lived at the Bella Park Trail. And I believe that Woodfield Glen.
Yes, it's the apartment complex east of that location, yes.
And on this map, you indicated the proximity of the Cameron Crest Apartment to the Woodfield Glen Apartments, as I recall.
Yes.
Would you point that out, first point out to me, where the Cameron Crest Apartment
It's
is located?
Camden Crest Apartments is this apartment complex here, located off of Grove Barton Road, this road here. They're both entrances are both on Grove Barton.
Now, where are the Woodfield Glen Apartments located?
It's this complex here.
And I believe you indicated that if you walk, as the crow flies, that it would be approximately 400, maybe 500 yards away.
Approximately, yes.
The distance between the Cameron Crest Apartments and the Woodfield Glen Apartments could easily be walked by someone who had moved that vehicle from the Woodfield Glen Apartments to the Cameron Crest Apartments.
Those two complexes are very close together, yes.
Had that vehicle been found several miles away, for example, that would indicate that someone would have had to have assisted in the movement of the vehicle.
That's possible, yes.
Now, when you located that vehicle, I believe you indicated that you were careful not to touch it.
That is correct, yes.
Did you look in, and I believe you did say that you looked inside of the vehicle.
Yes, we utilize flashlights and look.
There were two of them back there, weren't
I believe so, yes.
there? And I take it that you made no effort to enter.
Who had hook out for this individual. So we contacted Sergeant Privatelli, and he instructed us to just hold what we had and maintain until his guys arrived.
There's a very important reason for that.
Maintain any chain of evidence.
What you're trying to do is maintain the scene exactly as it existed when you found it.
It was to preserve that scene, yes.
You don't want to do anything to contaminate that vehicle.
Correct.
Without fingerprints on it, correct?
Correct.
You don't want to open the doors and look around and perhaps leave something there by accident, do you?
That's correct.
What the goal is for the crime scene investigators is to come and examine that vehicle and find what was in it in precisely the condition that we.
That is correct, yes.
Thank you, sir. I think that's all.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you, Elsie. May I stand down? Okay, next witness.
State calls Randy Jenkins.
Okay. Jenkins, if you be sworn, please.
You put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You may proceed.
Mr. Jenkins, could you state your name for the record?
Randy Jenkins.
And what do you do for a living?
I own and operate a little restaurant right outside of Black Creek, which is about 5 miles southeast of Wilson.
Okay. What's the name of that restaurant?
It's Bill's Grill.
And Black Creek is where in relation to Wilson?
It's about 5 miles southeast.
And how long have you owned and run that restaurant?
Entering into my 8th year.
Now, back in July of 2011, did you have occasion to meet Laura Apperson?
I did, yes, sir.
Did you tell the jury about the first time that you met Laura?
I met her on the discuss menu.
When you say that day, are you referring to July 13th of 2011?
I think so.
Okay,
That
that was
was, yeah.
probably Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
So the day before that, Tuesday, she called you. What did she tell you on the phone?
She was in a new business where they were marketing restaurant menus. They would help you design a menu. Then they would contact other businesses around the area to advertise in the menu, and then they would put it together and distribute it throughout the community and within, you know, reasonable distance from the restaurant.
Do you recall what time you were? And what was the, I guess, did Laura talk to you and give you this pitch about her
Mhm.
business? And what was her demeanor like?
She was just very pleasant. She's very, you know, very professional, I would say, very poised, and very convincing. She really convinced me that they had a good program, good business venture for me to get involved in, and so I signed a contract with her to market menus for us.
Did that contract that you signed, did Laura sign it as well?
She did. This is the best I recall.
And do you recall if y'all dated the contract?
We did on that day, and she was going to get back with me, you know, in a few days after talking, I think, with her business. She said I just remember saying she really had to go, and you know, just something that she had to do. And so
Did you ever speak with her about her children?
we did after we finished, you know, discussing the business. I just, I think, casually asked her if she had children, and she did, and we talked about her children for a few minutes, and my children. I have 9 children, and so she was excited about that, and we just casually talked for a few minutes before she left.
Okay. And do you recall, so did she leave around 4 o'clock?
Right at 4 o'clock.
Do you remember seeing what kind of car she was driving?
I just remember it being a little white car, but wouldn't have known make or model.
And around how long would it take to get from where you are in Black Creek to Raleigh at 4 o'clock traffic?
At 4 o'clock traffic, I don't know. It took me 50 minutes to get here, 45 to 50 minutes when there's no traffic, and I have been through the area at times when it's, you know, been a good hour to get here. So.
Mayor, can I approach the clerk?
You may.
Sir, I hand you Mr. marked as an entry that states the other one. Is that the person that should be at that day?
It is. Yeah, that is, sir. Mm-hmm.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Gaskins, do you have questions of Mr. Jenkins?
Mr. Jenkins?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
When you met with Laura that afternoon, she was already running late.
She was, yeah, she was late.
Did she mention during the time that she was with you that she had hoped to be in Raleigh Raleigh by 3 o'clock that day?
She did not.
So she just indicated that she was going to Raleigh after.
Yes, after the meeting.
And I think she was alone.
Yes, sir. She was alone.
That's all.
All right, thank you. You may stand down. The witness is excused. Call your next witness. Thank you, sir.
State calls Oksana Samarsky.
Okay. You may. I tell you what. I tell you what. If you please raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
We're probably going to pull those mics up after a while. We need them when we're asking jurors questions and they're answering our questions. We don't need them, I don't think. Now, but go ahead.
Oksana, could you state your name for the record?
Oksana Samarsky.
Speak up real loud, ma'am, so everybody can hear you, please.
Apologize. My name is Oksana Samarsky.
Thank you.
Now, Oksana, what do you do for a living?
I work for a pharmaceutical company in Rocky Mount.
And did you have training in that field?
Yes.
And did you meet Laura Ackerson a couple years ago?
My last year in school, undergraduate.
You can pull that microphone
Oh.
closer to you.
Sorry.
Push it up so you don't have to lean into it.
Okay.
And that was back in 2011 that you met Laura Ackerson?
Yes.
Do you recall what month it was?
It was earlier in the year, maybe perhaps January or February. I think it was February.
And how were you introduced to Laura?
Her friend, I think best friend Heidi Schumacher introduced us.
And back then, in I guess the early spring or winter of 2011, were you in school?
Yes.
And where were you in school?
NC State at Raleigh.
And what were you studying?
Biochemistry.
And I guess what brought you and Laura together?
I guess I like science and I like art. I paint. I used to paint actually. Before this happened, and Heidi is a good friend of mine. I knew her way before I met Laura, and she thought we would be a good match for some sort of a business, or she would help me manage to try to sell my paintings.
And what sort of paintings did you do? What was your medium?
Acrylic on canvas. They're pretty large.
And I guess, did Heidi tell you about Laura's marketing experience?
Yeah, she mentioned that her boyfriend at one time was a painter, and she helped him manage his art and sell and price and everything. I had no idea how to price my work, so she would help me with that.
What was the first time that you met with Laura?
It was sometime beginning of the year, I believe. It was still warm out. We met at Reader's Corner when she had her kids with her.
And what is
She said she had to.
Senator Hinju has been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 36. Could you look through that for a second?
I believe this was on Facebook chat.
Okay. And that was a Facebook chat between you and Laura Ackerson?
Yes.
And do you recall when that was from?
It was 2011, in July.
Okay.
2011. Well, it's dated 13th, so yeah, it was the day of.
July 13th. And does it give a time that this chat occurred?
It says 1:30 or 1:29.
1:29 a.m.?
No, not AM.
Aaron Hecker's-
It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to tell.
Okay. Just as this reads, does it say
It's a-
that the first contact occurred at 01:29 UTC?
Yes.
Okay, and is UTC around 4 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time?
Believe so. Yes.
Okay, so this occurred sometime
Later in the evening.
at 10 p.m. on July 12th?
Yes.
Okay. And that was a Tuesday night?
Yes.
Okay. And what sort of things did you talk about with Laura in that Facebook chat?
Just mainly that we were supposed to meet, or how she was doing and how I was doing, how my stuff was progressing, and that we should meet sometime.
And how is Laura doing at that time? What did she tell you?
I mean, she seemed okay, and she was excited to see my new work, mostly, but
And did y'all schedule a meeting for the next day on July 13th?
yes. Well, we kind of held it in the air, basically.
And what was sort of keeping you from writing it down in your schedule?
I believe it was in the middle of a work day, and I was still in school, and I had study groups on and off, and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to meet people that night, but I was pretty sure I had a study group later in the evening.
Okay. Did Laura say that she also needed to meet with her children
Yes.
that night? Okay. And did she tell you that she could meet with you after she met with her children?
Yes. She said she was coming into Raleigh.
Your coverage was?
You may.
And so on July 13th, July 12th, around 10:52, did Laura send you a Facebook chat, during this Facebook chat, say to you, I may be able to come to Raleigh tomorrow? Is that what she said?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you ask her what time will you be coming?
Yes.
And then could you read what Laura wrote, starting there with
I just got a message from my ex that I can visit my boys tomorrow, so I don't know just yet. It will be evening before I could come your way.
And that's from Tuesday night, July 12th.
Yes.
And then do you respond that Or does she go on to say, or maybe not, I have an apartment in Wilson at 3?
We didn't really schedule a particular time. We just agreed to keep in touch with one another and figure out our schedule.
Okay. And did Laura also write, I may be able to do 4 to 5-ish?
Yes,
And then did you respond that you had a group meeting at 7 tomorrow and any time before that I'm good?
yes.
And did you have Laura Ackerson's phone number at that time? I guess did you send her your number just to make sure that you
Yeah.
could catch up?
Yes. Well, I didn't text, so it was difficult. And sometimes if she would call me and leave a message, and then we would play phone tag for the longest time.
Okay. Now the next day, did you have a group meeting that night on July 13th?
Yes.
And at some point, did you check your voicemail?
I did, but it was really late. And I just figured since she didn't call me again to confirm a meeting, she was with her kids.
And did you listen to that voicemail?
Yes.
And was it from Laura Ackerson?
Yes.
And after you, I guess, after you received that voicemail, did you ever hear from her?
You know, one of my
Honestly, about 2 weeks later, I was in another event with friends, and that's the first time I heard that I should have called her afterwards, honestly. I just didn't think about it because we were always kind of phone tagging.
At some point, did detectives contact you?
Yeah, that was about 2 weeks later that I found out she was actually missing.
Your Pepper's with us.
You may.
So I hand you, it's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 37A and State's Exhibit 38. State's Exhibit 37A, is this a CD containing that voicemail message?
Yeah,
Any of you listened to that before?
several times.
Okay. And is State's Exhibit 38 a transcript of that voicemail message?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move State's Exhibit 37A and 38 into evidence.
That'll be received.
Arsana, you're on Pepper's with us.
You may.
I hand you, it's been marked for identification purposes, the State's Exhibit 39. Is this one of those Gmail chats between you and Laura Ackerson?
Yes.
And what was her email address?
ljackson@gmail.com.
Is that ljackerson@gmail.com?
Yes.
Okay. And is that your email address?
Summers@ncsu.edu.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Summers@ncsu.edu.
And is this one of the chats that you have with Laura?
Yes.
And in here you talk about Facebook and working on these canvases and what percentage Laura will
Yeah,
take.
we were just starting out.
And did you agree to Laura taking a certain percentage of your artwork?
She would get commissions.
Okay.
We didn't really set on exact thing, but we never actually ended up selling anything because of what happened. But
Okay. And after this happened, you found out that Laura was missing. Do you still paint?
I haven't painted in a long time.
Okay.
It took me about a year to actually try to do something, but honestly, everything reminds me of her, and my apartment's full with my stuff, and it's kind of difficult.
Your Honor, this time, I believe I previously moved State's Exhibit 37A and 38 in evidence, but I didn't publish those at this time.
All right, they have been received. You may publish.
13th at 4:19 p.m. Sorry, it's why I'll be there in about an hour, but I'm gonna go visit with my boys. Don't know what time I'm gonna start up here soon, so I'll give you a call when I'm done. And I just wanted to let you know too. I wasn't gonna be able to see before 7, but I want to find out if there's any available after that at any point. Okay, I'm gonna stay up there. And this message to Billy.
That voicemail was on your cell phone from July 13th of 2011.
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Any questions?
Yes, John, thank you. Good afternoon. Marcy,
Samarski. That's my last name, actually. Oksana is my first name.
am I pronouncing it correctly?
It's fine.
Anytime.
I'm composed.
You have never met Amanda before.
No.
In your conversations with Laura, you never mentioned Amanda Simpleside.
No.
You did talk about Grant, but
Honestly, I didn't even know his last name for the longest time. It just, she mentioned that she had something custody issues with him, but I didn't really know much about him.
the night before this Facebook chat that you had with her was the night before she came to Raleigh on July 12th.
I believe so.
And what she was telling you was that she was planning to come to Raleigh the next day.
Yes.
May I approach you with John?
You may.
Now, you were shown a transcript of that conversation for that Facebook,
Yes.
or chat, Facebook chat.
Mhm.
Do you have it?
Mr. Gass.
I can look it up. You begin, okay,
Yes.
you and she begin with general conversation,
Mhm.
chit chat.
Yes.
At some point in the conversation, do you recall that Laura, I know that on Facebook you're writing it, so you're not actually talking, you're doing.
It's, as much as I can explain, it's just an instant messenger. Like people text on the phone right now, people typed. I guess they still do that.
In other words, you're not talking, you're like when we sit here and say.
No.
What you're doing on Facebook.
Yes.
And you do the same thing on Facebook that we do with our telephone.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
One of the things that Laura said during the time that you were chatting with her was, I joined a group online of ladies in a similar situation, people who had a lot to deal with assholes. And my situation is so good comparatively. You remember?
I do remember that.
You knew that she was talking about Grant.
Yes.
Did she tell you that the group that she joined was a group called SAFE, S-A-F-E?
I honestly cannot recall exactly what the name was.
Did she tell you what it was that led her to use the term assholes?
I mean, she loved her kids more than her own life, and I assumed that anybody who would want their kids to stay with them would hate the other person who would want to take them away from her. That was just my assumption. I didn't go any deeper than that with her. And relationships usually end because they're bad.
You knew who she was talking about.
Yes.
looks like mostly what you and she were talking about.
Yes,
That was
the main topic, yes.
the main topic of what was being said. At any time that you, Laura, did she ever indicate to you that Grant had threatened her in any way?
No, I just knew they didn't get along because of their children.
Or that she felt it necessary to join a support group to help her deal with that situation?
Yes, but she never verbalized that she was in fear for her life because of it. Okay.
All right, anything else? Ma'am, thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am. You're excused. Can you obtain the documents? And tell me who your next witness is, please.
State calls Amanda Salmon.
Also, if you be sworn, please.
You solemnly swear the testimony you give this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Ma'am, could you state your name for the jury?
Detective Amanda Salmon.
And where are you a detective?
I'm a detective with the Raleigh Police Department Homicide Unit.
Now, how long have you been a Raleigh police detective?
It'll be 20 years this April,
And how long have you been with the homicide unit?
7 years.
And back in 2011, did you have occasion to be part of an investigation into the disappearance and murder of Laura Ackerson?
I did.
And how did you first become involved in that investigation?
On July 20th, my team, which is Team 2, Homicide Team 2, was requested to assist in a canvass of the area where Laura Ackerson's vehicle was located.
Your Honor, can I publish states exhibit 32 at this time?
You may.
Detective Salmon, I show you states exhibit 32. Do you recognize this area?
I do.
Your Honor, can I approach?
You may.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Could you indicate to the jury where this canvass occurred?
Oh, there we go. The area of Camden Crest Apartments looks like, I am guessing, I may be off just a tad, that this is the area of the canvas and this is the entire apartment complex.
And we did a canvass of that area. What does that mean?
A canvas is, we typically go and knock on doors to locate residents that live in that area. And when we do that, we're looking for witnesses, individuals that may have seen or heard something, or noticed the vehicle when it was parked, who was around the vehicle, just information we're gathering to assist in the investigation.
And did you start at the northern end of that apartment complex and canvass out?
We actually started in the office area and then we migrated, or my investigative effort was migrated toward the area where the car was located.
And are there several detectives that are doing this back in July of 2011?
There were at least, if I recall correctly, our 5 team members were involved in the canvass.
And what day was this?
I have July 20th, 2011.
And that was a Wednesday?
I believe it was.
And so as you go and knock on these doors with the other members of the homicide team, did you acquire any information that was helpful to your investigations?
No, nothing relevant to the vehicle being parked or anyone that had seen the victim.
So basically no one said anything that would help move your investigation forward?
No.
Did you also speak with the manager or the property manager of those apartments?
I did.
And after talking with them, did you learn anything else?
That we learned from the manager I have listed as Jessica Moore, property manager of Camden Crest, indicated that Laura Ackerson and Grant Hayes had
occupied an apartment in that complex in July 2009.
So back in July of 2009, 2 years before this, Laura and Grant had shared an apartment in that apartment complex.
That's correct.
Do you recall where that apartment was?
She listed it as 5400 Summit Manor, unit number 106.
Do you know where that unit's located?
5400 is, let me see if I can. It is closer to the office area, and I am thinking, okay, here's the office. Up in this area right here is where it appears the 5400 unit is.
And were you aware at this point of where Laura's car was found?
We were told the car was located in the area where I directed my canvas, which is the let me see, hang on one second, I apologize.
I think the jury has been shown where her
Okay.
car was located.
Okay.
Excuse me. At that time, were you aware of where Laura Ackerson's ex and this defendant, Amanda Hayes, Grant Amanda Hayes, had lived?
Not at the time of the canvas. Later in the day, I was made aware of their current location.
And where did you learn that they lived?
That they resided at an apartment on 4021, number 322 Bella Park Trail.
And did you know where that was located?
I do. I have to use my map to help me, if that's okay. It is in the apartment complex from Camden Crest through the turnaround in this area right here.
Okay. That building where the cursor is right there?
That appears to be correct.
Okay. And you said to drive there, you have to go around this traffic circle to get there.
That's correct.
To walk there, you walk through some of these woods and then just cut through?
A direct link from the wooded area.
Now, that apartment where Grant and Amanda Hayes lived, at some point did you go to that apartment?
I did.
Why did you go to that apartment?
Detective Sergeant Privatelli at that time and my sergeant, Jackie Taylor, requested that I assist in the search of that unit. Detectives had received a search warrant, and I was just there to assist with the search of that unit.
So this is Wednesday, July 20th,
That's correct.
and the first thing you did that day was that canvas where you're knocking on doors.
That's correct.
Do you recall what time of day it was that you were doing that canvas?
I've indicated at about 3:50 in the afternoon.
When you executed that search warrant, well, did you help execute the search warrant in Grant and Amanda's apartment?
I did.
And when you did that, do you recall what time of day it was?
I've got listed about 3:50 p.m.
And what was, or who was going to search that apartment with you?
I was assisting Detective Jerry Falk, Detective Brian Hall, Sergeant Stephen Privatelli, and Sergeant Detective Mark Quagliarello.
And before you went into that apartment, had anything been done inside that apartment?
They had begun the search, so they had entered the unit prior to my arrival.
Prior to detectives coming in and searching the apartment, is anything else done to an apartment that's to be searched?
They execute the search warrant on that unit. They do, if you're referring to prior to entering a unit, they do a surveillance. They look at the area to see if it's occupied. That makes a difference if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, so you go to search this apartment, Brandon, and you knock on the door presumably first to make sure no one's home?
And prior to entry, knock entrance was made on this particular search. They knocked on the door prior to
And
entry.
does someone take, I guess they walked through initially, does someone take pictures of the scene as it appeared before it was disturbed by any sort of search?
Yes.
And after that, do you go in and search different parts of the apartment?
That's correct.
Your archive first witness.
You may.
How first the Detective, I named you as to mark for identification purposes of State's Exhibit 72 through 75. If you can look at those,
Okay.
do you recognize those?
I do.
And what do those depict?
These are the front entrance door to the unit 322, the inside entrance to that door, and the kitchen area, and then the spare bedroom area that I was assigned to search.
And I'll show you State's Exhibit, what's marked for identification purposes of State's Exhibit 62. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
That is a depiction of the apartment unit.
And State's Exhibit 72 through 75 and State's Exhibit 62, are these all fair and accurate depictions of how that apartment appeared back in July of 2011?
Yes,
Would it help you testify in your testimony to the jury?
yes.
Your Honor, this time I move to enter State's Exhibit 72 through 75 and State's Exhibit 62.
Let me receive.
Your Honor, may I publish some of those pictures via the connector?
You may.
And Madam Clerk, can we leave the lights on? Yeah.
That's as low as I can get on the gas.
Okay.
Clerk, can you turn on? Detective, I show you State's Exhibit 72. What are we looking at in this picture?
This is the entrance door to the apartment at 4021 Bella Park Drive, number 322.
And is that the apartment that Graham and Amanda Hayes shared?
Yes,
And this is July 20th, a Wednesday?
that's correct.
And Laura's car had been found near midnight the night before, some 12 hours before?
That's correct.
I show you State's Exhibit 73. Now, if we bring down one second. What are we looking at in this picture?
This is what you see when you step into the front door. To the immediate right of that entrance door is a dining area.
Second, I show you State's Exhibit 62. Could you indicate that front door that we just looked at, could you point to where that is? Is that right here?
Yes, this would be the front door area.
Okay. And so you come in the front door, where is this picture taken? What angle?
You would look to your immediate right, and that would be the area here listed as dining room.
So this, what appears to be a sink and a bar right here in the kitchen area, is that what's located in the back of that picture?
That's correct.
And to the left is the opening to this living room that's depicted in that picture?
Yes.
So this picture is taken from standing around here and the, I guess, right at past entrance to the door?
Yes.
Actually, State's Exhibit 74. Where is that looking?
This is if you entered the door and you look to your immediate right. It's the carpeted area off the foyer, right to the right of that front door.
Your Honor, can I approach the witness?
You may.
So again, I show you State's Exhibit 62. Where is this picture taken from?
This, if you're looking in the door, you would be looking towards the door, and it depicts this area at the front door.
So where my finger's pointed in the middle of the word room and dining room on State's Exhibit 62 is taken from that direction, looking back towards the front door.
That's correct.
And how far or how close to the front door, is there a bleach spot depicted in this picture?
There is.
And how big would you say that bleach spot was?
Approximately 3 to 4 feet.
Okay. And how far was that bleach spot from the front door?
Immediately from the front door where the carpet begins, the stain is the about 2 feet from the front door and right on the carpet as you enter into that room.
So 2 feet from the front door, there's a huge bleach spot?
Yes.
Also in this picture, at the end of the bleach spot, it would appear that there's a pink piece of paper.
That's correct.
Well, when you execute a search warrant, do you leave a copy of it for the inhabitant?
There is the customer copy of the search warrant typically is pink. It can be white also, but we leave a copy in that appears to be the customer copy
Customer copy of the search
or
warrant?
recipient copy. Yes, sir.
Okay. And Detective, you have a pointer up there. Could you point to the area where there is a bleach spot?
The bleach stain runs, here's the linoleum type foyer, and the stain began at the carpet and runs towards the dining room area. So this area here.
And that was how it appeared when the first investigators went in there and took these pictures?
Yes,
And that's how it appeared when you went in there and searched?
yes.
Now, could you indicate what, can I approach one more time, Your Honor?
You may.
Show you State's Exhibit 62 again. What was your area that you were responsible for searching?
I had the bedroom, which appeared to be a spare storage area used as an office area, also to the left of the residence, and the bathroom area that was.
So you had this bedroom and this bathroom?
Yes, sir.
And then were other detectives assigned to the other bedrooms and other bathrooms?
Yes.
I show you State's Exhibit 75. What does that depict?
This is the room that I searched.
Eric Humphrey,
You may.
just to be clear. Show you State's Exhibit 62. That's this bedroom that I'm pointing to, the far top left one.
Yes.
In this apartment, did it have 3 bedrooms?
Yes, it did.
Do you recall what were in the other bedrooms?
One was the master bedroom, one was the children's bedroom.
And then this other bedroom that we see depicted here, what could you tell what purpose that served?
It looked like an overflow, a storage area. There was some desk, like an office area at one point. Maybe they had used it for an office area, just an overflow room in the house or in the apartment.
And you mentioned that you searched this bathroom as well.
I did.
What, if anything, did you notice about that bathroom?
It did not appear to be the main used bathroom in the residence.
Did it appear clean?
It was clean.
Now, after you searched that bedroom that we see depicted in this picture, well, actually, in this bedroom, did you find anything of note?
I found a receipt that appeared to be significant.
Our coverage with us?
You may.
Detective, I show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 76 for identification purposes. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And we can see that this envelope appeared to be open. Have you previously testified in a hearing about this document?
I have.
And when you testified about what was in it, at that time, did you open this up?
I did.
Okay. Does it indicate the investigation, what this investigation's about?
It does.
And the date that this was seized?
It does.
And is that July 20th of 2011?
That's correct.
Does it have a case number that matches up with the case number in your report?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And does it list the item that was found in here?
It does.
And if you look in here, could you tell us what that item is?
This is the Apple Store for Crabtree Valley Mall receipt that I located.
Okay. And does that appear to be in the same condition as when you seized that from that room back on July 20th of 2011?
It does.
Okay. All right, this time I move to enter State's Exhibit 76 into evidence.
Let it be received.
And Detective, could you indicate what Apple Store this receipt came from?
The Apple Store at Crabtree Valley Mall.
Okay. Does it indicate a date that that item was purchased?
It does July 14th, 2011.
Does it say what time?
It does at 8:45 p.m.
Does it list what was purchased?
It does.
And what was that?
An Apple 85W MagSafe power adapter.
And did you learn that to be a sort of power cord for a computer?
I did.
For a MacBook computer?
That's correct.
And does it also list the total amount for that?
It does.
And how much was that?
$84.33.
Okay. So based on this information and this receipt that you had found that there was this purchase from July 14th of 2011 at 8:45 for a power adapter, what did you do?
Notified Detective Falk and the detectives assigned to the investigation, and then I was assigned to contact the Crabtree Valley Mall Police to try and locate some surveillance video.
Detective Tom, I had just been marked as State's Exhibit 549 for identification purposes. Is that the Apple Store Crabtree Valley surveillance video from that evening of July 14th?
It is.
Okay. Your Honor, I move to enter State's Exhibit 549 into evidence at this time.
Let me receive.
Your Honor, I publish State's Exhibit 549.
You may.
Detective Salmon, this video from the Apple Store, did it depict Grant Hayes in the video?
It did.
And is Amanda Hayes pictured in the video?
She is not.
And this is the video from what appears to be July 14th at 8:42 p.m.
That's correct.
In the bottom right corner are two little boys.
Yes, there is.
In the right corner, is that individual appear to be Grant Hayes?
Yes, it does.
Does he appear to be talking with a person who works there?
Yes.
Does he appear to talk to some of the sales individuals at that store?
Yes.
And here at 8:44, do we still see Grant Hayes here in this Apple Store?
Yes.
And at no point do you see Amanda Hayes in the Apple Store, is that correct?
That's correct.
How far is Crabtree Valley Mall, where this Apple Store is located, from where Grant and Amanda lived?
Within 5 miles, I think would be an accurate distance.
And at 8:45 and 44 seconds, we see Grant Hayes pulling something out of the bag that appears to be some sort of computer.
That's what it appears.
Did you ever find out what happened to that computer?
I did not.
And this information that you're gathering as part of this investigation, did you provide it to Detective Falk?
I did.
And why Detective Falk?
Detective Falk has been assigned the lead in this investigation, so the lead gets the information that you acquire during an investigation.
And here in the last 30 seconds of this video at 8:46 and 30 seconds, do you see Grant Hayes put his bag over his shoulder and walk with his two children?
I do.
the store at that point?
They do.
You mentioned that you found that receipt in that bedroom of or the office space bedroom area that wasn't being used as a bedroom of that apartment. Did you have occasion to search any other part of that apartment?
Not search, I did view part of that apartment, but I did not search that unit.
Your Honor, can I publish State's Exhibit 73?
You may.
In this area of the apartment, we're looking at the kitchen area
Yes,
and the living room area.
yes.
Ms. Sellinger, is this a good time to take the lunch break? Okay. It's about 5 after 1, folks. We're going to stop about an hour for lunch. Don't discuss the case among yourselves. Don't make up your mind about it. Don't form or express any opinion about the guilt or innocence of the defendant or any matter in controversy. Be careful about your conduct. Keep an open mind. We're going to start back roughly, let's say about 2 o'clock. If you come on back, meet the relatives about 2. We'll try to start as soon thereafter as we can. We'll keep an eye on the weather for you. Thank you very much. Have a good lunch. Leave your notes in your chair. We'll see everybody at 2 o'clock. Thank you. The jury's left. Officer, you can stand down if you'd like. Folks, we'll just be in recess. See everybody at 2 o'clock. Thank you.